And the campaign I'm running, I'm running endorsed by the GOP, but my personal ideology is not necessarily with any particular party. So I just like to have something that's unique.
Are you being
In the primaries, I wasn't really, while I was very active online and in other fields, I didn't do a whole lot of real world advertising. I didn't have the funds to. I went to the farmer's market like I did today. I put up some flyers around State Street, but overall I didn't get a huge amount of experience with just advertising. So it's been sort of a crash course over the last few months. Absolutely. So personally, I've been very politically active from a young age. When I was about 12 years old, I decided that as soon as I was 18, I wanted to run for office. And so I've been developing, some more libertarian beliefs, some more classical environmentalist beliefs, some more independent or moderate beliefs, you might say. And so I really wanted to be that candidate that goes out there to try to bring hope to the people who just feel disenfranchised by politics in general, but to independents, to disenfranchised Democrats, to moderates, to libertarians, everyone who thinks that we need a sort of a new paradigm in California politics, a more moderate paradigm, a more simple political system.
For people that don't really know.
Yeah, so libertarianism is a term that has a lot of connotations. I know some people on the far right try to use that term to appear a bit more moderate. Some people have connotations that individuals who identify as libertarian are just progressives trying to get, there's things like that. But personally, I stick with that label even though there's all sorts of connotations, because to me, libertarianism is a very simple political and moral principle. It just boils down to the notion that every individual has the right to live their life however they see fit, conduct their business however they see fit, as long as they do not directly affect or harm the person or property of other people, as long as they're not manipulating other people or defrauding them, and as long as they're not doing legitimate damage to the environment. It's a very simple social and political principle.
What would you do different than?
Yeah, absolutely. So I could probably say that Monique Lamone, although she's not here, I would say that she probably doesn't identify as a super free market oriented person overall. My overall principle when it comes to economic policy is I want to really cut a huge amount of red tape around our local small businesses. I want to cut tape around regenerative agriculture farms and things of that nature. I want to make it ultimately so that individuals, as long as they're not harming their employees, harming the public, defrauding the public, they can really just conduct their business with absolutely minimum taxes and fees as possible, as long as they're not breaching over into the rights of others. When it comes to environmental policy, I'm a big advocate for regenerative agriculture and traditional preservationism. I feel that the Democratic Party in this state has kind of leaned more towards pushing environmentalism as sort of a justification for more progressive policy, rather than bearing a real and traditional environmentalist sentiment in and of itself. In some ways, I can compare my environmentalist views to that of RFK Jr., I'd say. Yeah.
And I have really 2 more questions.
It would be absolutely wonderful. I really, in some ways, it's sort of hard to just picture what it would exactly be like to be in office, but it'd be absolutely wonderful. I feel like I'd probably take aback some of the people in there with I believe I have some decent debating skills, and I'd love to take the supermajority of California status quo Democrats and really, push them on a lot of these issues. And it would be an absolutely great opportunity, and I'd love to also use that to sort of advocate for people to just get out there and vote based on policy, not on party, and break up some of that division that's in our state politically.
When is your birthday and how old will you be?
My birthday is November 23rd, and so if I was elected, I would take office at the age of 20, making me the youngest state senator in California's history.
And that's Congress.
Yeah. So my district covers almost all of Ventura County, everything except for Thousand Oaks and Westlake, all of Santa Barbara County, and then southern San Luis Obispo. Has about 1 million people in it.
Okay, so tell me what you say to the voter, like ask them for your vote.
Absolutely. So if individuals out there and they are looking for a new paradigm in California politics, they feel totally disenfranchised by the political system. They feel that every legislator out there is just bought and sold by private interests or looking to force some ideologue vision on everyone. I welcome them to consider my campaign. I'm a young individual. I don't even have a chance to be a career politician because I haven't even been eligible to run until today. I'm pushing for unitive principles and common ground ideals. So if people feel lost politically, I want to provide them hope. I want to provide them with a safe vote. And I really hope that individuals who just feel like they've stuck with the Democratic Party all these years can maybe consider voting based on policy and not on party in this election.
Do you have any questions, David? I should ask you. Do you have any? Oh, you're here listening. We're doing stories on this race.
Love this guy. Elijah's the man.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Have a good one.
Is there anything you want me to ask you, or that you want me to ask her?
Gotcha. Let me see. Let me think here. Mind if I pull up my phone real quick?
Worries. I keep thinking when.
Yeah, overall, but the issue is libertarians have to be practical and they have to be pragmatic. We need to understand that in the present system there's going to be some level of taxation. Unless we're having like a perfect, it's idealist to say that we can put together a society where everything's completely voluntary when it comes to these things, and we have privately funded police or things of that nature. So definitely, as a libertarian, we have to be practical in that regard. And a lot of people also beat on us when it comes to issues of social welfare and things of that nature. I do believe that a very minimalist social safety net is necessary, but I also am a big advocate for traditional mutual aid societies and traditional workers' unions. I believe that these are voluntary entities in the free market that have historically established living wages in the United States, have provided things like free health care for their members in cases of, in like the case of mutual aid societies and mutual insurance agencies. And I'd like to see a lot of these, we've become dependent on a lot of bloated, discriminatory, and inefficient government services, and I'd like us to sort of bring that back to being dependent on our neighbor and our community, so to speak. And so that's sort of my view on that regard as a libertarian.
And on social issues, you probably are sort of liberal.
Yeah, liberal in the traditional sense, liberal in the true sense. I believe that if you're an adult individual, you have the right to live your life however you see fit, as long as you're not directly harming that of other people. I think it's a very simple political principle, and I believe that a lot of people, both on the left and the right, have a legitimate concern that one side or the other is going to try to force their personal views on them via the state. And I want to come in there and I want to break the division that's caused by that sort of fear of our neighbors. I want us to be able to come together and just have a mutual recognition of our rights as adult individuals and be able to sort of get along without that fear and come together and start having a more constructive political and cultural milieu in California.
Anything else you want to say? I think you've covered here.
Yeah, hypothetically. But the issue is they also recognize that in a lot of the areas of California, especially ones that are very, very progressive, a lot of the conservative candidates that do run are maybe a bit more extreme and less likely to win and less likely to appeal to the public, even if there is like a decent margin there.
Are you pretty much, for your ballot, are you pretty much going down talking points?
No, they haven't given me talking points. They really have let me do my thing entirely.
Okay.
The only thing is they just do not allow me to endorse candidates that aren't Republican. But other than that, I advocate for people not to just vote by any party lines. I'm not going to be out there telling anyone to just vote down the ballot Republican or vote down the ballot Democrat. I'm not really running for a party in a certain sense. I'm running for the ideas I hold. And I believe that as long as voters are really doing research and doing their due diligence and really giving a fair chance to every candidate on their ballot, I'm happy. As long as people aren't just sticking with their sort of partisan hive minds, I'm all good. Yeah.
I think.
Debate with her at different candidate forums, but she sort of dropped out of all of them.
Oh, because she feels like she has nothing to gain.
Yeah, she doesn't really have anything
That happens so much.
because she recognizes that I don't have a political career.
Right, she'll give you a spotlight and doesn't want to give you a
Yeah,
spotlight.
she knows that the only thing she could really attack me on is my age, but that only drives intrigue, I think. So she knows that her best chance of winning is just sort of laying low. But it is good in a certain sense for me because I know I'm going to be in a sort of a vacuum that I can fill. The voters here aren't going to hear anything about her. She does have a very strong chance to win just because of her name recognition and the party next to her name.
Yeah.
But that gives me a chance to really get my name out there on social media, on newspaper ads, YouTube ads, whatever I can afford.
You've only had a primary. You've never had an election.